And that is right. Scrap Masters and everyone else out there, happy Friday Fun Day. My name is Rob Appell, quilt maker at Stitchin Heaven out in Quitman, Texas. And I am so blessed to see all of you out there for yet another super fun Friday Fun Day, where I'll be doing some live sewing on the block here. I'll be sharing some cool show and tell. I've got a remodel going on upstairs in the master bedroom and bathroom. It was going to be a surprise to my wife, but I decided to get her involved, and I'm so glad that I did. She's doing a great job. I'll tell you all about that. I've got all kinds of fun things. I've got some quilts to show off that I've been working on. You can see that Scrap Masters is going incredibly well. It's up on the wall here, and this is super exciting. So, welcome to the subscribers, 78,000. Actually, I'm sorry, I need to update it. 79,000 and growing quickly. I keep forgetting to update my tile, so I better put that away. If you haven't subscribed, please do so now. Press the little button to be notified whenever we go live, and or please keep sharing the videos, especially the Scrap Master stuff. We're having a blast with it. We have a Facebook group as well. I'll tell you more about that in a few moments. And really, I want to dive in and get going right away because I like this new format. And please continue to comment and comment live in the premiere. I am here with you typing along, and comment later on as well. Again, that helps YouTube know that the videos are awesome, but more so it helps me understand where we're really at in making our productions here for you all. I put a lot of time and effort into these. I hope it shows. I'm having a blast doing it, of course. So funny enough, last week I had a bunch of green pieces that I was so excited. I guess I could show you maybe better in the overhead. Even better, we'll put these, maybe we'll get lucky green again this week. I forgot to use these, and I could have maybe, even though they didn't really fit the block. That'll be my excuse. So don't forget, we're using up scraps in Scrap Masters and also buying from the Boneyard bundles. And we're gonna get ready and get going here. So off the back wall, I'm grabbing, no strings attached, no magician here, and we're going to figure out which of our 6 blocks from the free pattern will we use this week. All right, let's go back to the overhead to make sure there's no cheating going on, and here we go. Here we go. Big roll. Block number 3. What are we looking at, folks? Block number 3. Remember, rule number 1 is there are no rules. And block number 3 is a pretty quick one. Not too many half square triangles, really, when it gets broken down. And this one also makes for some cool stuff. You can see what's going on the wall here. I'm getting some neat banding or latticing work with the way the colors are playing between in the backgrounds now. And I'm really excited about that. So block 3 we do today. And now let's see what color we're going to work in. Are you ready? Are you ready? Make sure the blade's closed. And what's it look like, folks? Red orange. Okay, working in the red orange. That doesn't do me any good with the green pieces I had left over. I do have some red orange that I might pull also. And let's see how many different fabrics we can use. This is the big one. We want a big number, although I think 20 was almost too big a few weeks ago. Anyways, here we go. I've got a chart I'm keeping on that Facebook page. If you're interested, 1. Okay, 1 is a re-roll, and we may or may not add it to the next. Let's see what we get. 10. Okay, I love it. So with that, folks, like I said, there are no rules. I've determined I am the master scrap master. So I'm going to stick with 10 this week, although you could make that an 11. By adding that to it, or you could use 110 different fabrics or 101 different fabrics if you like to play with numbers, but that's going to be pretty challenging in a pretty easy little block like we're going to do. So as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and start picking these fabrics really quick. So we're working in the red orange family, and earlier I said I had a couple of these left over. So that technically is already 1, 2, 3, 4. Can I use that? Yeah, maybe 5, 6 different fabrics. No, I'm going to do those 4 fabrics, but that means then, folks, that's that same fabric. I can bring that in here. Oh, I guess I've used up that one as well. So maybe we'll let that one be a random. Oh, that's going to mess me up something terribly. Yeah, forget that. Okay, let's get into my red oranges here. And I want to tone it down a little bit. And I want to kind of bring it, I think I'm going to bring it over here, right? If we're working here, I can kind of come into this family too, and that'll pop it a little bit. Okay. So I might want to bring these greens in a little bit more for this week. Now I'm up to 6 fabrics. That turquoise there, I'm going to call that, yeah, that is that 7 fabrics. 8. I'm going to cheat. 8, and then bring that in, and that's 9 and 10. Okay, boom, we're ready to rock and roll. Put those things away. I'm going to go ahead and divide those up into half square triangles, figuring out which goes where. I think what I'm going to do is focus today to make the red orange part show as the star, and these little tips out here. So that means the blues and greens will be in this area here and here only, I think is how I'm going to try to work this out. And I'm going to go ahead and let you listen to the announcements, check out some quilts, see the grateful list, and see what you've all been up to while I dive deep into Scrap Masters week number 22. Hey, and thanks again, Rob. And folks, thanks for being here for the announcements. We're going to have a great little run through today. And I just want to thank everybody for being here. Like I said, I want to let everybody know that we do have all of the announcements and everything I'm talking about. There are links in the description down below. Super exciting. And again, as a reminder, please make sure that you are signed up on our Facebook group, So Well Rob Appell. Answer the 3 questions, and I, the gatekeeper, will let you in. And that's again where we're doing all of our fun posting and communicating about what's going on with our Scrap Masters, excuse me, random scrap block generator. And I'm going to mix up our show again this week a little bit. I'm very frequent. I'm very choked up, but mostly you'll find out why in a second here as we get moving pretty quick. We are going to start with the great full list, but I do want to remind you folks, if you didn't already catch the Epic block of the month number 7. Now, Epic is a super cool 96 by 96. Sorry for the big swallow. I needed a big drink. Quilt, that 96 quilt, Epic, is designed by my dear friend Charisma Horton, and it has been a super cool block of the month. There may be a rumor floating about that it's being recolorized, and at any rate, I'm super excited about that. And want to let you know that we're on month 7, but the videos are long going. So anytime you have that pattern and or a kit and you want to work on it, please join us there. Now, like I said, I want to dive into the grateful list. The grateful list is actually a great way for me to get through a bunch of our announcements today, mostly about what I've been doing in my life since I got home from Texas last week. So with no further ado, and make sure that you're always being grateful each and every day as well, here's my list for the week. Smooth sailing. And folks, yes, you know, Stitchin Heaven focuses and features really fantastic quilting cruises where we take folks and cruise ships and sewing machines, and you can tell I can't even get my lines right. I am so tired if you saw the rest of what was kind of going on there on the grateful list. But yes, I was using the term smooth sailing, but I was not sailing. I was flying and driving last week in and out of Texas. And no, I did not see any of the disasters that have been going on because that's not the region I was in. For all those folks and families out there, again, our hearts pour out to you. I was going back and forth to Quitman, Texas, where I love to work at Stitchin Heaven. We were doing a bunch of fun video filming, and my trip home was super easy, maybe the super easiest one so far, which was really important because number 2, as I stepped off of the plane roughly at 12 p.m. noon on Saturday, began item number 2 on the list, which is a remodel Jenga. Now, folks, my wife and I have been discussing doing a remodel of our master bedroom and bathroom, and there we are, a Saturday afternoon, starting to box up everything and going through it, and we staged, as a good Jenga player would, the key items. So we moved all of our furniture, cabinets, and whatnot, and clothing into our son's bedroom. He is in Greece, in Italy, traveling on his honeymoon, and when he comes home, he will not be living at home anymore. The fish are still here, and they like watching us change clothes. Apparently, they're giant. Anyone know? And I get home for some new Oscars. Anyways, when we moved the couch, excuse me, that is not a couch. That is our bed. We used to have a couch there a million years ago. That became our cool little seated garden area where I love to do my yoga in the mornings with the fish tanks and the flowers and all that. Put our bed there because really what was going on, folks, in the bedroom, under a curtain behind our bed, we discovered a bunch of gross mold. I'm so sorry I didn't let you know I'm that disgusting, but I am. Not only am I that disgusting, but we also had a puppet show theater closet my wife had to live with, and talk about disgusting. So yeah, we took out the curtains, took out that drywall. As a matter of fact, just started taking out everything, including the terrible carpet and all of the fuzz that was tar stuck, glued down, hands and knees for hours and hours, and many of the evenings trying to get all that prepped. There was a built-in cabinet at the end of the hallway, which is no longer there. And just been having fun. You can see I've got some mud drying on the wall, and I've been getting up early every morning and putting in a couple of hours, and then again hitting it in the afternoons. My wife has been in charge of the pretty part of it, so she's been painting and getting our bedroom all staged and ready. And I'm super excited because this evening, this Friday, we're going to get down there and finally discover the rest of what's going on behind the sink cabinet. And I think being a quilter is going to come in handy as I figure out how to tear out the tile without having replacement round edge tile and get rid of that cabinet. So at any rate, that's the big thing going on. I'm super excited about what seems to be a winning round of remodel Jenga so far. We did a ton of planning and a ton of prep work for the early stages. We don't know how we'll actually finish out the closet and all of that area in the back, but we're really excited about what's going on, and it's been a great project for my wife and I to be working on. And like I said, it's been a good distraction, but also it's made me very glad to be a quilter. Item number 3. Folks, my back hurts. My hands are sore. I just can't even tell you. Like I said, I'm coughing. I've got drywall dust and sawdust and sand everywhere and all kinds of stuff. And so, yeah, it has been fantastic, but I am super glad to be a quilter. And in saying that, I want to share with you here we go. Let's turn that thing off. I want to share with you another super cool quilt from the Glowing Checkered Star collection this week in a patriotic version that came up. I thought that's really cool looking. And so that came in on the Facebook group for Glowing Checkered Star. The retreat is happening on August 6th through 10th. And we have a little more information on stitchinheaven.com under the events page, or the retreats page, excuse me. And I'd love to have you join us. We do, like I said, have just a couple of seats that opened up. And so if you're interested, you can still sign up, and I will see you in just a few weeks in Quitman, Texas. And we will be working on that Glowing Checkered Star, but you're not required to work on it the whole time. I'll be bringing a bunch of new stuff. Hopefully Kevin the Hummingbird will be available, the pattern at that point, and super exciting. And then also in talking about getting to be a quilter, it kind of drifts into number 4, which is Uncle Brom. So if you were following my story a few months ago, let's say 6 weeks or so back, I went down to visit my uncle, who is featured there with a palm tree growing out of his hat, who he passed 2 days ago, and excuse me, 3 days ago. But I was blessed to go and put a quilt on him. And he used it every day as he was in his last month with cancer. And it's one of those things, I think, folks, this is why all of us are so glad to be quilt makers, is there's so many things we can do to process and to heal and to think through things, plan out remodels, whatever we're doing while we're working with our hands, where we can be thinking and focusing on other things very effectively. And I think that's really cool. And so there's a lot of different blessings in being a quilt maker. Obviously, giving the quilt to my uncle and allowing him to enjoy that quilt during his last days. It was a very happy quilt, very bright quilt. It was quilted using my new fabrics. So that was all really exciting and cool. So yes, I love being a quilt maker. And it's just one of the great things we can do. Speaking of being a quilt maker and kind of a segue, next week we will be doing another block of the month tutorial on our Wednesday, our programmed tutorials. And now we're on month 2, Dog Park, which is a skinnier park over here. I think it was called The Thrill of the Chase, where those two dogs there are chasing that poor squirrel up a tree. I have stitched together's block 1 and 2 right now. I have not stitched down all the appliques, so I'm treating it a bit with kid gloves and ginger here as I work through, trying to not make sure I burn it because my iron is still also nice and hot. But this is really fun. And if you're working through the Dog Park Block of the Month series, or even if you're not and you want to see some great tips on applique, check out the video coming up next Wednesday. Like I said, this week was the Epic Block of the Month. So we're focusing a bunch on Block of the Month, which is really fun and exciting. And for those of you who also love to be quilters, I'm going to run through our offerings really quick here. Coming up very soon, we have the Minneapolis Quilt Retreat. We're referring to it as a Socation. Nancy Mahoney and Chris Hoover will be teaching everybody that joins August 10 through 15. There is still time to sign up for that. Stitchinheaven.com. Don't forget about our bus trips. We do bus trips from all kinds of fantastic locations close to Texas that we can bring you in. We can feed you. And I apologize. I should have the videos up from last Friday's bus trip where I was running around. I just realized I goofed around so much I forgot to put those up. So next week I'll get those for you as well. Block of the months. We have tons and tons. Yes, I'm featuring Epic and Dog Park because I'm playing favorites. But with so many to choose from, you know I'll be doing another patchwork soon. Super fantastic. And last but certainly not least, the greatest quilting cruise ships on the sea. I've started just referring to them as quilt ships, and that is the Icon Quilting Quest, January 17 through 24, with Michael Davidson and Tiffany Hayes aboard the Icon cruise ship, Royal Caribbean. Following week will be April Jaheen Reeves Hansen. That'll be January 24th through 31st. And then, of course, the final of that 3-week stretch. And this is really amazing, your opportunity to get on board an Icon Royal Caribbean ship with us January 31st into February 7th with Raya Saloma and Joe Caraway, teaching some incredibly great projects to some amazingly beautiful destinations. And it is going to be fantastic, folks. We know you'll absolutely love it. And I've been on several cruises, and I am loving not only the quilting portion of it, but the pampering portion of it as well. And of course, if you haven't been following along, the Icon cruise ship itself is one of the most elite cruise ships on the water. And of course, our partnership with Royal Caribbean has been incredible for years. Thank you, Royal Caribbean. And also thank you for the use of that beautiful conference room where everyone gets their own machine and their own table. And we can just be set up, and actually the machines and the conference room is accessible 24/7 to our group. So that is a huge benefit. If you've ever gone away to do any quilting, whether if it's at a socation, a retreat, or a cruise, we're there to party and have a great time as quilters doing what we love, which is quilting. And so I really like it when we have all access to our sewing machines and the project. Now, the teachers have to sleep and eat. And if you can hear that in the background, I apologize. I was trying to time out today's show between the tree trimmers lunch break, but unfortunately, I talk longer than they eat, apparently. So if there's background noise, don't worry about that. Someone's just tearing down a tree outside of the window, and we'll move right back on here. Now, I believe we've bounced through almost all of our announcements, other than what's going on with Scrap Masters. If you're new to the show, Scrap Masters is our random scrap block generator. Rob's in the middle of his block number 22 for the week. Hopefully he's in scramble mode before the end of this. Now, here's what's on the wall right now. Oh boy, it does. It just gets more and more pretty every week. I'm going to have to take a picture of this layout. I really like this one. And I have the one block left plus the one we're making today. Let's see where we end up, folks. And of course, I've been primarily now using the Boneyard bundles, the Rob's Rainbow, and you can get those in a quarter yard or half yard. And that's a close up of the fabric colors that feature. Not every fabric you see in that bundle is always available because the way that the bundles work. Tiffany Hayes also has a really cool tropical, and these are all batiks that she has hand chosen. And we're having a blast sewing through together. Last week we pulled block number 2, which is a very simplistic block in comparison because there's no half square triangles. We were working in the color green and we had 11 fabrics to choose from. And there's the block I came up with, and I've already integrated it into the project on the wall, and I'm really liking that layout. What I love also is seeing everyone else's blocks, so make sure you are posting them on that Facebook group. It is neat to see how all of you are using some of my strategies, some of the fabrics, and of course, enjoying the process. Our friend, I think we've now got a 2-block mark. We're going to name him like our ACJ out there. Everyone gets a nickname if you play long enough. Really enjoying the different color combinations, even though playing within the green, and then drifting back into more of my palette here. And I get a photograph of the quilt that's on the wall as we are hanging out today. And I really like this new exchange. I want you to look deep into the way that the colors, the orange, now from the new block from last week is pulling through, and some of those lattice blocks are pulling through. This week, I really like my arrangement, so I've taken some serious photographs. I think I'll basically come to that as we wrap up the series. So I am on block 22 this week. I will go to 24 blocks, making this basically 48 by 72, and we'll wrap it up there, and I'll stitch them together, and we'll keep moving forward. So there is no beginning, there is no end to Scrap Masters. We're just having a blast and having a good something to work on when we're not sure what to work on, because we all know that working on something makes us feel better. And well, isn't that what life is all about, is feeling better? I hope Rob's feeling okay with his scrap block week number 22. Let's see how he's doing. Are you ready? Let's get back to good old Rob live and see what's happening with that block. Always feels intense sewing this quickly, like knowing you're all waiting to see what's going to happen here. Makes every second really feel long, which is kind of fun and also enjoyable for me at the same time. It feels intense. Quilting chaos. All right, like we said, I wanted the green in the center. So I kind of have to just hourglass the prints here. Let's get into the overhead so you can see what's going to happen. Okay, so that'll form that center square. Then we wanted our oranges to kind of play out with the darks. Okay, now we're going to take and we're going to drop a green in each corner. Yeah, we'll make sure those go opposites of those. Then this will be here, 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 and here. And now we'll just fill in. Oh, looks like I'm going to be shy. Okay, so I need 4 more of each of those to keep my count right. Or heck, maybe I'll do 6 of those because I can. Let's cut those down to 2.5s really quick. The other benefit of having the stacks all pre-cut at 3 inches. And then we'll figure out what we still want when we're done here. Oh, I'm going to break the rules. I'm going up to 11 or 12 fabrics, and I'm going to throw in these 2. Nope, I'm going to throw in these 2 stripes. There we go. Even better. Same fabric, so it counts as the same fabric, but it's actually variegated. So now it's going to look like 2 fabrics, and that's my win for the week. That's right, I was using 10 fabrics, but I said I could use 11 because of that first roll. And don't you love how we can just change the rules as we go? It is quilting, folks. We should be allowed to change the rules as we go. Oh, that's going to look terrific. I love that. I'm going to make one of these go this way. Okay, so I'm dialed and styled. Now I just need to go ahead and sew it all together. And again, I'm finding that going pieces in the rows and then just going ahead, pressing them in different directions works real good. So I'm going to grab my second and first piece, get my edge guide to 1/4 inch settings, and I can really blast through these pretty quick this way. Sewing all the pieces per row at a time. And then with this technique, as I have everything sewn into the squares, or all the squares into rows, then I'm going to take and I'm going to press or iron in opposite directions so that the blocks nestle, making it easier to get a little bit nicer seams as I go through. So that one I went this way. So now I'm rotating it by grabbing it, flipping it, spinning it in the air, and still pressing it the same direction. You just need to remember to put it back as it goes. So every other one being pressed in the opposite direction will really help our seam management. And now I'll go ahead and feed these into the machine, nice and smooth. Just lining up those first little seams between the blocks, and here we go. And kind of adjust as necessary at each union. And then I will go ahead and press now into the new area I'm working. Before I go ahead and put on the other one. I feel like these blocks are going together really pretty smooth nowadays. Got some good design tricks. I am looking forward to having maybe a reset of my color palette. I might even try to use just all 20 fabrics next time or something, limit myself more. I'm not sure. I definitely want to keep this going. I love having the weekly block to work on. That is for sure. Especially when the quilt's turning out so amazing now. I just can't hardly wait to get it all assembled, which is only 2 weeks out at this point. And we will be doing a virtual sew-along game show kind of thing also coming next year with this concept. So if you like this, stay tuned. We'll also have our New Year's Day mystery quilt. That information is getting ready very quickly to be put out, I should say. But don't forget, the retreat is already online. That's all I'm going to say. Give everybody a chance to sign up for New Year's retreat. And here we go, Scrap Masters. We're one seam away from our 22nd block. Make sure all my little points are pointing out like they're supposed to. Which also means my sewing for the week is almost done, Scrap Masters, and I get to go become remodel master. Remodel Jenga extraordinaire. I'm going to keep winning upstairs. I tell you what, making my wife and I a beautiful space for sure. Oh, this is a fun block, and it's going to fit beautifully up into the quilt. Changing the arrangement just slightly again, which is okay because I also have last week's block. So here we go. Check it out. Week 22, 11 fabrics totally used, block number 3. And thanks for being here, Scrap Masters. Make sure that you are posting your photos over on that Facebook group. Make sure you're signed up over there. Answer all 3 questions and I will let you in. Make sure you're doing something wonderfully creative. Get outside, do something healthy, and please, until I see you next time, stay well.